Hey folks, let's see, where did I leave off? I think I skipped some steps. But what I did is I started taking apart the Super Trap muffler and got it all cleaned up. And I see that there's actually paint on here, so that's kind of nice. All these things still have some kind of a exhaust pipe compatible paint on them, so that's kind of cool. So does I guess this is the baffle. I don't know what the parts are called, um, but I did have to clean this up just for my own sanity. Everything was covered with this oily soot and it was getting everywhere. So I cleaned it up with gasoline real quick, and at least the parts I'm gonna handle. So this was really rusty. So I got the rust all cleaned off of here. I got some detail work to do around this bit. One, oh, I need to chase all these threads. One of the little threaded guys popped off while I was trying to get it off, and these are not nuts, so I'm not sure. Well, I'll figure it out. Anyway, but the whole thing comes off just by taking this one bolt off the side here, and then yeah, the whole thing slides out. So I put this on my Scotch-Brite wheel and got most of the rust off, and I'm going to, well, okay, so I got a lot of stuff in here that the wheel didn't fit, so I'm going to have to do that with some smaller tools. And I think if I read it right, you can adjust like the sound or the engine performance or something by varying the number of these little plates. So this is where the exhaust actually comes out. It comes out the sides of these little plates. And so if you want more flow through, you add more plates, and if you want more restriction, you take plates away. So okay, the master cylinder is all ready to reassemble. I just haven't got around to it yet. The cap, the cap I already painted, and that turned out really nice. These are the new screws. They're nice. They got a coating of some sort on there, which is really nice. And then of course you've seen these guys, and then that, yeah. But this guy, okay, so you can see where the original plastic ends and the JB Weld starts, right? Okay. So that was the buildup I did after sanding away all the cracked old plastic that was just looking nasty. And this is how the window turned out. Yeah, not great, but whatever. You couldn't see through it before. You can't really see through it now, so it isn't any worse. But what I did here is I put clear resin, epoxy resin, versus the grayish JB Weld, and then after I got it all built up, I went ahead and sanded it down and painted it. So I think it turned out really good. So it reminded me a lot of doing body work with like body putty, although I've never done that before. So this, you might call this my first attempt at body work, and for a guy who doesn't know what he's doing, it's not too bad. I took the carburetor shopping with me all over town, and I found some goodies for it. No one seemed to know much about making gaskets out of gasket paper. Everybody stocks gasket paper, but nobody knows anything about it, so that was weird. So I had to guess. So this is what I came up with. Victor Rhines gaskets. with a part number. It says look it up in the catalog, and they don't have a catalog. They just have these. So it's like, I don't know. And then I got, something on there. And then I got a new fuel hose. Fit right on there. And then I looked through my stash of miscellaneous hoses, and I found other hoses that will go here, here, and there. And where's that little thing? Oh, I found some little tiny hose clamps. Yeah, isn't that weird? It says size 1/4 inch, but then you ask people at the hardware store for 1/4 inch, and they'll give you something about that size. So I guess the sizes don't really mean anything, at least not that I can tell, because it doesn't matter what you ask for, you almost certainly don't get what you're looking for. So that's why I decided, since I had the carburetor off, I decided to go ahead and take it with me so I could show people for real, how small these things are. Yeah, so, and I also looked to see if I could modify the one gasket that came in my kit to fit this, let's just punch the hole, but yeah, there's not enough material. It doesn't go all the way. Yeah. Oh, here's another thing I want to do. I want to go ahead and treat this guy and nickel plate him. Since I have the ability to do nickel plating now, I'm going to nickel plate everything. No, I'm not going to nickel plate everything. Okay, I'll have to review my videos, but if I haven't mentioned it yet, I got the oil changed on the bike. I got the screens, I got the round screen off, cleaned up, put back on the bike. And yeah, the sump came off, cleaned up, that screen was cleaned up, put that back on the bike, replaced the fuel filter. So the two screens in the fuel filter are clean. It's got fresh oil in it. Yeah, I did mention at one point that I got the 27mm socket for that. I know I mentioned that, but I don't remember. Oh, and then I actually started it up again after the oil's back in it. But one thought I had is, this is a vacuum line, and it's open. I haven't plugged it in anything yet, so it's probably got way too much air coming in. And that might be one reason why it's not running right, is that this vacuum line is open. Didn't even occur to me until last night, several days after I started the bike last. But yeah, so the next time I give it a try, I'm gonna make sure that's plugged up. Hey, I got some mail. I got a whole bag of little wire wheels for my rotary tool. They're hard to find locally, but on Amazon you can get an entire bag full. Also got new filter cartridges. When I was cleaning stuff up with gasoline the other day, I was really smelling the fumes. And then to protect the organic vapor filters from particulates, if I can get this off, there we go, I have I'm getting junk on here already, but they're rated N95, so these are N95 filter, they're not cartridges, they're filter covers or whatever. So put those on here, and I've got a mask that can do N95 and 6001 all in one mask. So that's really nice. Want to see how I adjust float bowls? This fellow came with a rebuild kit that I bought for my giant 3-barrel K-Hen carburetor for my CVCC engine on my Honda, and I have it pre-marked all the three three measurements that you make on there: the float height, the other float height, because it actually has two different floats, and what was the other one? I can't remember, but there were three different measurements you take with this guy, and it's really handy. And I bought more than one kit, so I had this spare. So I've gone ahead and marked 23.5 millimeters. And here is the offending gasket here. And there's a little O-ring in there. Pop this sucker out. Fortunately, when I took this guy out originally, I was able to get him out without any damage, which is good because I now need to use him as a template. Okay, let me try this again. In frame this time, maybe. How's that? So we're supposed to measure it from the base of the I don't know, whatever this flat part is that the gasket goes on, to the top of the float. So we're measuring at about 19 millimeters, and it's supposed to be 23.5. So, however, they say that it's not supposed to be pressing down on the little thing. Well, in order to get it to not do that, I would have to have it right about, because just the weight of it is going to affect that. So with the weight, I don't know if you can see that, with the weight of the float off of the little pokey, or that little spring-loaded tip on the other side of the float needle, it is right about where it needs to be. Maybe we'll bump it up just a little bit. That do anything, or do I need to get more aggressive with it? But yeah, if you put it this way, though, just the weight of the float will push that little spring-loaded guy. But if you take if you turn it until the weight's off, you can see that then the spring, maybe it's a weak spring and I need a new float, or not a new float, but a new float needle. Adjust that just a tad more. Maybe I didn't even adjust it the first time. Let's see if that did anything. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust it like this and see if anything catastrophic happens. I'm gonna call that about right. I don't know, can you see that? Try to get it in frame, but see here, the weight of the float starts pushing down on it, but if you turn it, the spring can overcome and push it back up again, but not so much that it falls open like that, see? So I'm gonna call that good. I think, I don't know if that how well that shows up on camera, but I think I'm gonna leave it there, and I'm gonna guess that maybe that spring is a little on the weak side. So we'll see. I'll revisit that if I have to, but now I'm going to make a new gasket. So, out of this gasket. Let's see how that turns out. Okay, so I think the first thing I'm going to do is remove these towels here. So, just throw that over there. These are here, and now we've got our headboard. Interesting. How should we go about that? It's already squarish. I've got some punches somewhere, I have to find those. We've got a hole here, a hole there, a little thing right there, another hole here, another hole there, big hole right there. Whoops. That old guy right there that keeps us from using the regular guy. Interior here. Oh, there's another hole in this right there. Okay, from the outside. Like that. Got a little corner right there. Like everything, and then keep it straight. I think, and then keep it straight. Alright. So there's your gasket. Now let me go find some good scissors versus the crap scissors I've been using. So check that out. That's probably, I don't know, that was even in frame. Turn the camera up. Try this on. Yeah. Wow. And I'll see if I can find something that holds with this. Found me a leather punch. So that should work. I just don't need that. Okay, let's see. Okay, what size do we want? Bigger. Let's look at this one that got it. Alright, that'll have to do. Okay, so we'll have to do that one. Get that centered. Nice. Alright. And then, oh, no, that's going to be all four of these, so let's go ahead and make all four of those. Okay. Pretty good so far. Alright, let's do this whole guy. I think, best way to do that is going to be just punch a couple holes here. Yeah, so we go in the middle. Ooh. What do you think here? Yeah, that's a little big, so that's going to be trimmed down a bit. But let's look at the control on. So that's good. Let's see about this guy. So yeah. Okay, that spot needs to be bigger. Okay. So we're going to make sure we need to trim this area down, and this area down, and this little bit here and here can expand a little. And of course we can do the rest of it. Here's the holes. Oh, that's just right. Oh, big one. I'll touch you after that. Let's see. Oh, another right there. Another right there. Okay. Now I can do this. Let's see. We need a much smaller guy here. Ah, you need a big guy? So, yeah, big guy. Maybe one size bigger. Ooh, yeah, like that. Let's see it. Excellent. Alright. Oh, shit. Pretty much. Oh, let's see what we can do with this guy. Okay, that fits just about perfect. Yeah, just a little bit more up there. Yeah, just a tiny bit there, and a tiny bit there. Okay. Hmm. We'll leave it off that side. I think we're going to be able to get the interiors of those to make absolutely sure that they don't interfere with the hole. Okay, off the side here. Okay, there we go. That's really working with the carburetor, doesn't it? Okay, I'll call that good. So we got a little hole right there, we got 4 holes there, we got 6 out for this guy. The flip holes are not going to interfere with. We got that little hole right there. Oh, we're going to make sure the overhand should fit in that metal. Alright, jump the can, there we go. So here it is. There it is. There you are. Okay. Oh yeah, I think you put it here. Okay, let's do that. There we go. So that is our new bubble gasket. And we have the float gasket, and we have gasket. The gasket here, check for the leak. Pull it in. Here we go. And then spring goes on, and the plastic goes on later. Okay, plastic guy. Right, and then washer and put it in. Move our screw in. There we go. All right.